on day 3, taking my wife Danielle out, hoping to catch enough for a proper feed of crab linguini. It's a wild ride, and that's the thrill of the chase. Let's see how it all plays out. I'm Paul Breheny, and welcome to Real Bites Australia. With my wife Danielle, we're heading up the Noosa River. Beautiful day. We've had lots and lots of rain, so we've got plenty of crabs around. I'm going to do a nice dish at home. We're going to do a nice linguini dish with some nice, beautiful pulled crab. So I'll head up there now, eh? Decided to go to one of the local stores and get myself a new setup. Okay, so I've bought myself a pot that has got these pipes or stands or whatever you want to call them already been screwed on, which is great. Now what you want to do is make sure you get yourself a heavy duty pot. Remember how much they are, aren't they? Around about $50 a pot or something like that, so you know you're always going to go and check them. Also, what I've done is I've got myself some sinking rope rather than that real sort of skinny rope that you get normally with a crab pot. So this is a sinking rope. Now I've tied it on with a bowline, and I've just done a little half hitch over the top of the bowline. You can look that up on the internet and you'll find out how to do a bowline. It's just an easy knot to take on and off. I bought some thicker rope, a sinking rope. Now, the reason why I've done that, many times I've had my pots cut, run over by outboard motors and stuff like that, where guys are fishing for maybe jacks and stuff like that, and they don't see your pot, and next minute they run over it because it's floating so high up in the water column, and they might accidentally run over it. This goes straight down, which is really, really good. You've got to make sure that you have all your identification on your float, and you've also got to have a tag, which I've got here, tagged here, with identification on there. So I've got my name, and I've got where I live, and I've got my phone number on the back as well, mainly for fisheries. I've also done here is threaded the rope through, and then I've just done a little knot at the top so it doesn't go through, and it makes it easier for me to hook with my gaff when I'm pulling them in. Okay, so I've noticed on the bottom of the pots where I've had some of the bait that this has all the bait's been taken, but there's no crabs actually in the pot. So I'm just going to show you a little trick that this guy on YouTube was doing, and he's a pro fisherman, so I've taken a leaf out of his book. I did say I'd give him a bit of a shout out. So that was Greg, I think his name was, from Aussie Fisherman, I think his name is. Get these from Bunnings, and they're just like a plant pot type of thing that you know, that catches the water, and we're going to show you what I'm using that for in a second. Now my favourite bait is definitely chicken. It seems to work all the time for me. Just love putting chicken in there, lasts for a while, and they seem to love it, the crabs. So I get chicken bits when they're on special. So this has done me for about 5 crab pots, and I got it for $9 from Woolies. It was on special, just chicken pieces. Sometimes you get chicken wings as well, you can get them on special, and if you can turn that into 2 or 3 beautiful mud crab, then $9 isn't a bad spend really, I don't think, especially when crabs are like 80 bucks each or whatever they are now. I'm going to pop this in. So the reason why I do this is I'll show you. So this goes over the top of the chicken. I'm going to pull my bait trap down like so. Now when I turn it over, what I've done is I want the crab trap to sit on the floor like this. Okay, so it's almost like a bait tray, but what's great is that sometimes what happens, you can land underneath a stick and the crabs can get underneath it, and some of these crabs can pick pots up and they'll get underneath and they'll eat all the bait out of here without going into the crab pot. And they can't get into it now because the way I've put this in, they just can't get at the bait, so they have to come into the pot. So that's a really good little trick. So I'd like to thank Greg from the Aussie Fisherman channel who was showing everybody that. So that was a great little trick. And I've tied the rope on here. So this is, let's say this is dropped onto the bottom and it's sitting there in the mud, and it does get very muddy in some of these mangrove parts of the estuary here. And it gets really muddy. So, and rather than me having it tied on the top and then pulling along the mud, what I've done here is, so when I go to pull it up, it just pulls straight out the mud and we don't get mud all the way through the boat. So that's a really good tip. So this is the way you want to be throwing them out. So I'm just going to put this on top, and we want to be throwing them out so this lands on the bottom. G'day. Catching any fish? Nah? Small. No, they're all small. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of males though, which is good, you know. Got a couple of legals yesterday, but well, we'll see. I've still got a few pots to pull, so. Let's have a look at this guy. This is one of the new pots, I'd say. There's a big ones in here. Still a few of them, but they're all look about the same size. That one looks okay. This guy's lost a claw. He's a male. He's a male crab, as you can see. He's a male crab, but he's not legal. He's well under, as you can see just there. Okay, so he can go back. Straight back in the water. Now, I will show you something, is how to tell whether these crabs are full or not. He's got all of my steak there. You can see how strong they are. They could easily take your fingers off. He'll let go in a second when I put him back in. He looks a little bit older, this crab, but you press here and here to see if they're full or not. This guy's very full. Okay, but he's undersized, so as soon as you watch this, when I put him back in the water, he'll let go of that. As soon as he sees the water, into the drink they go, one after the other. Undersized and not just quite there. It's a game of patience out here on the Noosa River. Pot after pot, throwback after throwback, but just when I thought it wasn't my day, here's the last pot, the last chance, and finally.
This one looks pretty big.
One male crab in here. Oh, he's crushing it. He's breaking into him. Is that a female crab? Break. Ah. Female crab's actually... I have to get him away from this female crab. They're fighting with each other. She's just ripped right into him. Gosh. He's not going to be easy to tie with one flipper. He's cranky, that crab. Yeah, he'd be legal. Yeah, he's a legal male. But he's not going to be easy to tie. That's for sure. So we've got one, I suppose you'd call flap off there. So I got him out before he got too demolished. She's a vicious woman. No wonder these crabs don't want to mate with him. Now look at the claws on him, he's going to be good. So we'll get him in the bucket. He's not going to be the easiest crab to tie up, but I will tie him up. Because if we put any more crabs in with him, he's going to demolish them. So I'm just going to go underneath my heel. And I'm just going around the shell first up. Okay, and then we're going to come underneath the crab, like so. Okay, and then with this longer bit of string, I'm going to come up underneath my foot. This guy has lost one of his flaps, so I'm going to come underneath that leg, and then I'm going to come underneath this flap here, and then we don't have to spin him over if you do it this way. Then what we do then, nice and tight, like so, and he's nicely tied up, ready to cook. And we can handle him nice and easy and not worry about him getting free. I'll just cut these tags ends off and neaten him up. Beautiful, there's one tied up crab. Well, all that work for just one crab, what a nightmare that was, but it doesn't matter. We'll make a nice dish out of it. That's what happens. We've got a lot of holiday makers here and there's been a lot of crabs taken, and a lot of people are telling me that they're all around about that size that I've just seen then. So another couple of weeks, they'll be absolutely perfect crabs, and it's good to see some males around. So we'll see you back in the kitchen and let's do something with this crab. I'm just off the boat and I've got the crab. He's been in the fridge for a little while. I'm going to cook this crab pretty much now. I've only just got off the boat. It's been in the fridge since then. Reason being is that Jenny, or the female crab, really got into this male crab. So I was concerned it might die overnight if I leave it with a wet towel, cook the crab. Now the reason why is if a crab dies before you cook it, if it's been dead for about several hours, then they can actually make you really sick. You get this bacterial sort of an infection coming through them. If a mud crab dies like within maybe an hour or so, after you've caught it and you cook it straight away, it should be fine. As long as there's no sort of liquid coming out of the crab, horrible liquid, or it smells of ammonia, you're good to go. So this crab's super fresh. And then tomorrow, I'm going to make a nice linguini crab pasta with it. So I'll show you how to do that. Dead simple, dead easy, but super tasty. All right. Now the reason why I'm just weighing it is just so that I can get the cooking time. 7:28, okay, so this crab I'm going to cook it for around about 7 minutes. So it's coming to the boil now, a handful of good sea salt. It's great if you can cook the crab actually in the water that you caught it in, but we can't always do that when we're cooking at home. Okay, so the pot's on a nice rolling boil. In with my crab, straight in. Okay, 7 minute timer's on. Starting to come to the boil now. Pop that on. While I'm waiting for that, I'll get my bowl of ice ready. Okay, stop it, turn her off. Let's get that crab straight out. Now there's also a reason why we do this with the crab as well when we put it in the ice, is because what it does, it helps shock the meat and it pretty much comes away from the crab shell, otherwise it sticks to the crab shell too much. Look at that beautiful crab, wow. Absolutely superb. Get him in the ice as much as we can. And then what I'm going to do is leave him in the fridge overnight. I've got my crab chilled overnight, and what I want to do is pick this crab, get all the meat out of the crab, but I've got to clean the crab first. Make sure you've got ice, salted water, really important. Otherwise, you lose the flavour of the crab. So you've got to be careful here we don't make a mess. Normally we would pull this flap open, but the female crab's already done that for us. And we'll just pull that backwards like so. And then we're going to give this all a good clean out. I'm just going to cut this crab. So I'm going to get all the meat out of the crab now. I'm going to pull it all out. I'm going to use a little tool here that I've got. It's nothing special. You can use just like a toothpick or anything like that just to start pull the meat out. Just going to clean it all out, and then I'm going to throw the dish together and show you exactly what goes in the dish. Through all of that meat now, and picked through it twice, so took it out of the shell as you saw, and we don't get a lot from one crab, so that's why I'm going to do a pasta dish with it, so that we actually get a nice feed out of it for myself and my wife. So that's about as much crab that you get out of one crab. That crab wasn't quite as full as I expected it to be, especially on the claws. Probably about 3/4 full, but still we'll get a good feed out of this, especially when I put some of the nice ingredients with it and a little bit of pasta, so it'll be a beautiful lunch. So I've got some beautiful tomatoes here. We're just going to throw some tomatoes in. You wouldn't be able to keep it. So there you go. I'm going to leave the seeds in because it's a long chili. It's not hot. Why waste it? Okay, so I am throwing a little bit of anchovy in there, only 1.5 little fillets. What I'm going to do with that is saute it off and really melt it down. It'll melt down through the olive oil. It'll give it a really sort of sea, salty sort of flavour. Crab's super sweet, so I just want to offset that sweetness with a little bit of saltiness. And also, we're going to be using one of my big lemons off the tree. It's actually a lemonade tree. Yeah, I'm going to squeeze some of that lemon juice in there as well. Well guys, a little bit of preparation on the crab and getting everything else ready, but when you actually go to cook it, it doesn't take long at all. I've just got to get the pasta on now. Okay guys, in with our pasta now. What we want is around about 10 parts water to 1 part pasta. We're just going to spin this around like so. Slowly put it into the boiling water. Put plenty of salt in there. People tell you to put oil in the water for pasta. That's a load of nonsense. Just put good seasoning of sea salt or whatever salt you've got at home, but don't bother with the oil. The oil just floats on the top and does absolutely nothing. That's a little trick. If you do have people coming over, undercook your pasta, take it off, make sure you throw a little bit of oil through there and just let it cool down in a tray. Just give it a nice toss with the oil, let it cool down. Don't put any fresh water over the top of it or you'll lose the starch. And the whole point of the pasta, it should have the starch in there, otherwise it's just not the best. Not the best it could be anyway. I'm going to start the pan off with some cold olive oil. Then we're going to add our chili, onion, garlic and anchovy fillets. We're going to slowly cook these out for around about 10 minutes on a medium heat. Oil gets nice and infused with all those ingredients. The Italians call this soffritto at this stage. We're basically just sweating all those beautiful ingredients off. Now we're going to add our tomatoes. Tomatoes don't go in for quite as long, for around about 3 to 4 minutes, just to take that raw edge off. A bit of basil. We're also going to add some basil at the end, but we're going to add the basil now. Then we're going to throw some crab in there. We're just going to warm this crab through. It doesn't need to be heated up too much, just warm through. It's already cooked. Okay, that's pretty warm now. Some cracked pepper. Pasta in here now. Toss the pasta through the ingredients. Then we're just going to finish right at the end with some lemon juice to refresh the dish. I'm going to plate up. Beautiful crab. Now just give it a little twist. Like so, on the plate, just so it stands up. And then what I like to do is I like to grab some of the crab meat so people can see it's got some crab through there. And there we have it. We've got a beautiful crab linguine. I hope you enjoyed that, guys. We'll see you next week. Beautiful.
Next time on Real Bites Australia, I'm heading offshore with my wife, and the whales are everywhere. She hooks more than she bargains for, and I cook a fish that's seriously underrated. It's one you won't want to miss. See you next time on Real Bites Australia.